Welcome, everyone, to the Chronicles of Chiron, the Lion, the Witch, and the Healer. I'm Christopher, the AstroMedium, and tonight we have a very special guest with us. Rochelle, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Rochelle with Begin with Healing, and I'm a energy healer, and I'm also a hypnotherapist. And I'm a starseed, clear channel.
We're definitely going to get into all of that.
Yes.
So tonight we are also announcing the contest winner for Soulfire. We have two winners, and I have a whole trunk here full of names that we're going to draw at the end, so that's exciting. We're going to do that at the end of the video. The two lucky winners will receive a 30-minute reading, a deck of starseed oracle cards. I know how you like that, and a bottle of High John the Conqueror oil. And speaking of starseeds, what is a starseed, Rochelle?
Well, a starseed is a descendant from Palladians, Arcturians, other beings, and Lyrans. We have, there's some that I don't even know, but we're all actually descendants from different galaxies, different planets.
And when you say you're a descendant, what do you mean?
I am, I've had many lives as being an Andromedan or an Arcturian or a Lyran, or you can from Syrians, but I don't have a direct line to Syrians that I know of. I do have some Palladian connections, but they're just aspects of me.
How long have you known that you were a starseed?
Well, I'm sure I've known since birth, but I'm not that I knew. I knew.
How long have you been conscious as Rochelle? That Rochelle was a starseed.
I believe I was doing a meditation of bringing in my star seeds, and my star family.
So you were already aware. So it wasn't like this just popped in one day. You were already aware of things like this, or you were led to these things, I'm assuming?
I had a feeling. I always, when I was younger, around age of 4, I had light beings in my room. There were 3 of them, but I don't know if they were angels. I don't know what they were.
Because you do work with angels as well.
Yes.
Well, let's start with your background, how you got into all of this. Tell us more about who you are. From the time you were. Yeah, let's get into it. Let's talk about this shit.
Well, I went through several awakenings in my life. I have always been a intuitive, but when I was younger, I would see things, and when I was a teenager, I started hearing voices.
When you say see things, what do you mean?
Just beings, things that
for the audience members who are out here who do not have any of these abilities, or who have not awakened to their abilities yet.
Right. I would be seeing beings, energies around other people. I didn't know what they were. Of course, some of it scared me a little bit when I was younger. And then when I was a teenager, I thought I was actually going insane because I was hearing voices, and there were multiple voices. They weren't just one voice, and lots of lucid dreams, voices talking to me in my dreams. And I got into actually a lot of drugs to calm my nervous system down.
Yeah, so I'm assuming you're an empath as well.
Yes.
Well, and when people say starseeds, it gets lumped into the whole category. The highly sensitive person, the empath, the light worker, the starseed, those all get grouped into the whole category of the awakening and ascension process, light workers, starseeds, empaths. And although there are differences, they all seem to intertwine and intermingle. And I am an empath, and I do believe I am a starseed. I don't have the experience you have or the memories yet, but I've seen the ships, I've had the draw toward it, so I feel it moving in that direction. But I am a light worker, I am an empath. So it's funny to me how this is showing up, and I think it's just a part of being higher vibrating or operating in a different frequency range, that you would have that sensitivity which comes with that intuition. So would you say that you're psychic or intuitive? Because, or both? Intuitive meaning you just know things?
I'm both.
Okay.
I do.
That would definitely be starseed material right there. Yeah.
Now, I don't practice a lot of psychic abilities because I don't want to pick timelines for people, because there's hundreds of timelines. And when you're a psychic, you're picking a timeline for when you're using your psychic ability to do a reading for someone. You're picking
predictions and things.
Yes,
like that.
You're
Gotcha.
picking a timeline, and I wouldn't want to do that and pick a timeline for someone, because they may leave and choose another one, and it could be totally different for them.
I got you.
I respect
that.
Yeah, you can give them a reading as to this is a timeline I chose, and this is the way it would go if you keep going that path.
That's how I do my readings.
Yeah.
I just had a reading today with a gentleman who I said, this is what's coming in most strongly for you. And this is not a set, because you can choose something else. I always tell them that, because I want to empower them and not feel like it's set. And your work seems to be pretty multi-dimensional, because we're starting to get into some multi-dimensional territory here, where we're not realizing that things are set like in the 3D psychic world. This is more, would you say, 5D?
Yeah. 5,
or higher
6,
than that. How about she's going to keep going
7.
up?
I would, because when you start getting into 9, 10, 11, 12, you are formless. So
this is angelic frequencies. This is source energy.
These are the dimension of consciousness. So I have actually worked with the 12th dimension, but I haven't worked with it a lot. So
when you say you've worked with the 12th dimension,
it's where you are actually meditating, and you keep going to, you let your body just keep the consciousness, not really your body, go to each dimension. It will take you there. Once you let each dimension take you, you just go, and your consciousness, if it's ready, will go there, and you'll feel any connection you still have to the earth. Like when I was meditating in, I think it was in the 10th dimension, and you just let the 7th, 8th, and 9th drop, and you'll see if you have any attachments to this world. And I did. You know what my attachments were? It was the beauty of this planet.
Yeah, which is still a form.
And I would miss that. I have an attachment to that. Actually, the thought that came to my head was sunrises and sunsets. And I would miss that. But some people have their work, like, they feel like their purpose here on earth, they're attached to their children, their family.
Right.
But I have let that source can all have that. I love my grandbaby and my daughter, but
you're what?
I have a grandbaby.
Yeah. The fuck? Okay.
And my daughter.
Apparently starseeds age very well. So I seem to be doing okay too, but holy shit.
Yeah, he's only one, so let's not get.
Okay, well, okay. I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah, but I
well,
love them, and but I have given them. I would give them up to Source, because I don't own anything in this world.
Right.
It's only a blessing.
Well, I can say you're sitting in a headspace, we could call it, or a consciousness zone that a lot of people who may be watching or who are existing now, they don't feel that way. They're very firmly set in their ego. They're playing the 3D game, as they should. They did come here to do that. Star seeds did not. They did come here to wake up or to be conscious of these things, to help move the frequencies up. And it sounds like you're doing that. But when did you start getting into all of this? When did you know I'm a star seed and I have certain abilities?
Well, when dead people would start coming to me when I would be trying to sleep.
Okay. And when you say they were coming to you, I'm like, they come to me too. So I'm interested to hear what your experience with that is.
Right. But you also got to understand, I'm the daughter of a Southern Baptist preacher. And, when I was younger, we didn't have the internet.
Right.
So I would try to go to the library to look up things to understand myself.
What age were you at this time?
I was a teenager. And I found a book on the occult, Wiccan, and actually I think Satanism is so I read all of these books combined with my Christianity. I was like, these all make sense,
right?
But in one thing to me.
Yes.
And
did your parents know about this?
No, they probably would have taken me to be I don't know what they
would have gotten you help.
They would have gotten me help. Yeah, there would have been a lot of praying going on, I think. Yes. And maybe some medication. So so I
what was that like for you to be in such a traditional, or what would I say, religious but more orthodox type of home, and to have this? Did you feel like the black sheep?
I felt very lonely.
Yeah, that's very much
separate.
Starseed feel like that. Yeah,
very separate, not understood. Like I was weird, and I always told people I was raised by wolves.
So I hear a lot of stories of star seeds, and they're very much, that's what they own, that's their experience, and they don't feel connected to their family the same way that.
Well, I am the only star seed in my family. Well, that's not true, because my daughter is a part Palladian and Andromedan, but she may have others.
The family you grew up with, though.
Oh,
your foundational family.
Not that I know of. I didn't feel connected.
No. Well, that makes a lot of sense, because you kind of popped in to do something different, but you had to get in there somehow.
Well, I was told that I was clearing the genetics.
Yeah, absolutely. So, that's what we do.
So that's kind of,
it's our duty.
Yeah, that's what I was told that I was doing. I think
who told you?
Well, my team.
Okay.
My guides.
Who is your team?
Well, I have Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael. I have a council of a galactic council I talk to also. I was talking a lot to a council of light, but they haven't been coming through as much anymore. I mean, I get these, I talk to my higher self, of course, and everything I run through myself before I talk to any beings, because I have had
that's where it has to come. I understand that.
Yeah, because there are beings that like to talk to me all the time and tell me a bunch of bullshit.
Ah, so
Yeah.
it's your way of discerning.
Right. And when I first started doing channeling, I used to call it the drunken uncle that would show up, and they would tell me all kinds of crap. And
I've had that.
But I would feel the frequency of the change. It would be a very slight change, but I would be like, something's off, because I would do some automatic writing when it would be coming in. And
now, was this all after you had this experience with drugs? Because most empaths, light workers, starseeds, because we were not taught certain things, we do at some point want to shut things down, and we do get caught in certain addictions and certain numbing tools, I'll put it that way, to feel normal or to escape from that. And I've had my own. So were you doing a lot of this channeling after your experience with drugs?
Yeah.
If it's okay to talk about this.
Yeah. Oh,
so when did this happen? Because the whole addiction or getting into things like that, that's usually a part of all these people's stories that I talk to. So you're a teenager, you are researching things, you're getting into things, you're hiding things from your family who you don't feel necessarily connected to anyway. So it isn't like you feel this tremendous amount of guilt, like, oh my God, I'm a bad Christian. Did you ever feel like that? Or that things were not going together?
I was in church when I was 6, and I kind of looked around and I said, this is, something's wrong.
I said the
something's
same thing.
Off. And then I remember saying to myself, this isn't how I remember it. And I didn't know what that meant to myself. So it was definitely when I would hear them judging and condemning righteousness, and I always kind of felt like the only true religion is love.
Right.
And unconditional love is source's love. And that's where, when you get to the 12th dimension, that's all it is. It's absolutely, you don't have any thoughts.
Right. It's just being.
It's just the formless of source's love. And when you're doing that, you have to be a little careful, because you may not come back.
Right.
Because
you're nobody at that point.
You're right. And the only thing that keeps you coming back is your attachment here. So if you have something you're supposed to be doing, you will come back.
So when you were a teenager and you're researching all of these things, when did you start to not go off track? It is our track to get into drugs and to escape and have addiction. That's part of it, because that's usually where we feel the most human and have to rediscover parts of ourselves, and it forces us to heal. But tell me a little bit more about that and how that came about, and then where that led you.
I think that was the only time it was quiet. It was quiet, and I didn't feel anything really. Yeah. And I felt a kind of peace sometimes, and then but that started getting less and less. So I just and that just opened me up to more actual portholes would open, and negative energies would just be having a field day and playing. Then they started getting noisy, and I'm like, I guess this isn't working either.
Yeah, you are what you are.
Right. So they I kind of started going to drink a lot and party with my friends. And then I always was like, it's a good time till it's not a good time.
Right.
And you'd look around the room and you would be like, you'd look around the room, or when you'd go out with people and you would be like, I still don't feel like I'm supposed to be here.
Right.
And and it's kind of like you're always trying to find the place where you felt like you're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of, Maslow's hierarchy of needs is the belonging.
Right.
And we're still human, and we're supposed to
Mm-hmm.
be having a human experience. We're a soul having a human experience. So you're still wanting the belonging. So that's kind of where I was trying to find the belonging.
Right.
And I went through a lot of things, marriage and sadness. And I had to go through those things.
You did all the human shit. Yeah.
I had to be those things to be a healer.
Well, that's what Chronicles of Chiron is all about. Chiron is the wounded healer, the myth of Chiron. So it's important that we really get into this, because that's kind of the whole purpose that you came here, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, because I wanted to come and enjoy the fun.
Right.
Because this is where everything's happening.
Mm-hmm.
This moment right here, the earth has never been
right
in this place ever in the history of earth.
Mm-hmm.
And we are experiencing it now. And everybody thinks that 2020 is the worst. Actually, it's not. It's not the most comfortable
right
that we've been, but it is preparing us for something new, because the feminine energy that's coming out of Gaia is bringing chaos and destruction for it to birth something.
Yes, as it recalibrates and rebalances. And I get that. I definitely feel it as well.
The masculine energy has been far too great in the earth, so that's why this has to happen. And there will be a union, and that's what we're going to witness.
Yes, I'm excited for that.
Right, and I am too. I don't know how it's going to happen. I mean, I have been told the winter solstice is going to be something crazy, and
December
I don't
21st.
know.
We can talk a little bit about that. I was
I
talking about that in my video last night.
Yeah, it's going to get, our consciousness is going to be off the chain.
Real quick before we get back to your story, for everyone watching, December 21st, 2012 was not the great event. That was the marking of the end of the third dimension. And after 2012, that was when the mass awakenings happened. Empaths, light workers, starseeds were not just being born onto the planet, but the ones already here were waking up in mass quantities, and these waves are happening, and it's all preparing us for the great solar flash, or the great solar flare event, and the great alignment that will happen on December 21st, 2020. And this is also when the age of Aquarius begins, and Jupiter and Saturn will conjoin or conjunct each other on that day at 0 degrees. And so it's really important that we have conversations like this, because this is where all this is heading. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because I was going to bring it up if you didn't. But let's rewind a little bit back to, let's say your 20s or your 30s. When did you start to notice, I have certain abilities and I want to start making this a part of my life's work? If that's how we can put that.
I didn't start doing energy work until I got sick. I started shutting down the left side of my body after I got divorced, and I started getting a frozen shoulder, and I went into 3 months of therapy, and they didn't know why I had it.
Psychological or physical therapy?
Oh, physical therapy.
I
I couldn't lift my arm up over my head. It was the most excruciating thing I've ever been through in my life. And they gave me cortisone shots. I was going to have surgery. And I said to myself, no, there's something else going on here. So I started going to an acupuncturist, and they opened up the meridians, and I started feeling better, but I didn't get completely well until I went to an energy healer. And it was like I was starting to actually close up like a shell. And as soon as they opened everything up, my heart opened. I felt like I was dying.
What type of energy healing was this?
Light activation.
And this is what you do.
Right. Well, I did go to some other healers, but it wasn't, they kept, no, you keep looking.
So I've had that experience as well.
Yeah, they said, you keep looking, this isn't the frequency you need. And I'm like, okay. And I looked all over Louisville. That's how I met Jessica. That's how I met Jessica, was we went to the same spiritual center together. And I just couldn't find anybody that understood what I was talking about. That I had beings showing up in my room. They were moving things around in my house. I actually thought I had a ghost, but it was actually an entity in my field that had attached to me and was bringing more and more entities into my field and was trying to take over my space. I know this sounds scary, doesn't it? It sounds like
I've had this experience.
It sounds like a scary movie.
I know,
doesn't it?
but these things can happen, and it's not like this for everybody. But when you're sensitive to subtle energies, when you're an empath or starseed, when you have a very activated third eye, and you are more sensitive to it, not only are you going to experience it more viscerally, but you are more attractive to that. So of course you would experience it this way. Lots of people experience activity in their home, but you're experiencing it very up close and personal because of your sensitivities. So you went and you had light activation healing. So is that in that moment when you experienced that change, and you knew, I'm into energy healing, obviously, there are different healing modalities like Reiki, acupuncture. There's lots of different ones out there. What brought you to light activation? And is that what started you wanting to do it for clients?
I didn't even know what Reiki was. I didn't even know what energy healing was. I think I had heard about it at the spiritual center, but I never really looked it up.
Right.
But no, my guide sent me. I typed in, I thought I had a ghost in my house, so I was typing in people
and you found it,
and I found her. I found a lady that teaches this modality, and she did a remote healing on me, and I was laying in my bed, and I didn't think I was going to be able to make the 45 minutes. I was like, my eyes were rolling around in my head. My body was shaking.
Wow.
I was like, I am going to, no, I'm not doing this for 45 minutes. It was because I'm so sensitive to energy. And I have had a couple of people that have been in energy healings in my office where I was like, this is going to be a long 45 minutes for them.
Yeah.
We have one lady in our group. She had a really tough time. She had a lot of pain with it.
And this was earlier on in your experience before you started offering this as a service, or is this?
No, this is service now, but my experience was pretty rough too, my first one. And it was remotely. And because of her lifting, years and years and layers of things, and
you were probably ready to let it go.
they were trying to hold on for dear life. She said that. She said one of them, which was the one that was trying to take over my space, that particular energy was starting to get into my thoughts, and I could hear it saying things to me. Mm-hmm. So when people tell you there's things talking to them, I'm like, I understand what you're talking about.
Right.
And this isn't a form of schizophrenia. I'm not.
Right. I know I've had.
Not taking a personality or anything. It was
right.
actually an energy.
Right.
It was, and the bad thing about it is I know the person that carries this energy, and I'm around them quite a bit. So even after it was lifted, I had to be around them.
Right.
And that was interesting because they started acting weird.
Well, yeah, because you were different.
Well, they don't know they're carrying this. I've
right.
never told them. I'm not going to walk up to people that aren't really into energy work and say, hey, you gave me an entity. It's kind of like somebody said, you gave him an STD.
Yes.
you know, you're like, I just know it came from him because she told me. She's a psychic also. Right. And when she told me what he looked like and what, I was like, oh, and I know why he has it, because he was a drug, he was addicted to drugs at one time. He is recovered addict, and he let it in then, but it's still with him.
Right.
So yeah, I would love to work on him and help him, but I just don't feel like that's his path yet.
Right. And if it's supposed to be, it will be.
Right. And he knows what I do. So if he's ever interested, he'll come to me.
Let's talk about what you do. So what is light activation for those of us out there who've never heard of anything like that? So
well, light activation is the healing modality where I balance all the chakras. I clear the aura. I also clear epigenetic DNA. I balance the pH in your water that's in your body. I also do a lot of clearing of the star chakra and the earth chakra.
The one above and the one below.
Below.
Got it.
And I open up chambers and portholes for every energy that is ever touched by me is treated with love and compassion. There is this stuff like exorcists and cast you out, and no, you remind them that they have a light and that they are loved and they can choose something better. So they are always treated with love and kindness. Sometimes it's hard when you see what they're doing to people, but they don't know any better.
Yeah, they are that energy.
Right. So I work with higher realms of light. I bring in my star family. If they have a star family, I bring in their star family. I bring in psychic surgeons. I also bring in masters. I've had Saint Germain show up. I've had angels I didn't even call show up.
What would someone experience, or what would a session look like with you or feel like? What is it? So is it always remotely? Is it done in person?
No, I have an office, and I also do it remotely. With COVID, people are wanting more remote sessions.
Is it any more effective if it's in person or not? Okay. Because
energy does not know time or space.
Correct.
And source is everywhere. And angels can be anywhere. I mean, that's why you could have Archangel Michael working with you here, and thousands and thousands of other people can be working with him too.
Right.
but he also has a legion too. So, um,
There's a whole hierarchy.
yeah, there's a whole, I
There's a
mean,
whole,
I've brought in as many as 100,000 angels in the room before. So it gets kind of crowded.
I don't even know what that would feel like.
Oh, it feels awesome.
That it does.
You feel like they got your back,
Right.
because they are everywhere.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is one of the most wonderful things that I've ever been able to learn in any book or anything I've ever read about. It's definitely something you can't kind of put words to it. You know, it's like being in a real meditative state, but you're helping other people with it.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just talking about it earlier, like some freaky things that I've had happen in sessions. I've never been scared in a session, but I have been a little wowed. I'm like, oh, what's that? You know, I've had dragons come out of people. I have had pieces of spaceships I've pulled out of people.
When you say pieces and dragons, this is
Energetically.
Okay.
Yes.
You're not extracting something from them, but you are, because these entities, energies are existing in the energy bodies.
Right. And they've picked them up from other dimensions. When I first started doing this work, if I did work on anybody that had anything that was not from this dimension, it would make my hands burn and tingle, and I would start feeling weird. And I've had, oh gosh, oh man,
Come on, I'm ready. I'm ready to hear it. I'm getting close.
Had, like, insects come out of people, and
you're seeing all of this in your
third eye.
Yes, yeah.
And then man, I've seen other people in people too.
People who've crossed over, or
no, they're disembodied spirits that have not crossed over, and they found a way into somebody's aura and causing them, like if they died in a car wreck and had pain in their head, and somebody has headaches all the time, that's where they were getting it from, that particular energy. And those are called entities also. Entity is not the same. Demons and entities, they're called the same, but because a demon is an entity, but the way you mean it is they're of different frequency range. Yeah, and there are you will find some energy healers that don't believe in demons. Right. But how can you have an angel and not have a demon? Because they're at war, really. There's still a war between the angels and the demons going on. So I mean, it's not like it, I don't think it is like it used, as big as it used to be, but I've seen them fighting them. So it's interesting because it's right before I go to sleep at night. Sometimes I'll have these portals open up and I will see things going on in other places. I've had things drop out of it. It's like, but that's another thing that I do, is I hold open gateways here, and I don't know exactly why, but I do. You're apparently good at it. So, well, and I'll let everybody know, because I have had light activation with you, and I have noticed changes. And we were in a session one time where you were talking to me, and my head started to hurt, and it was like from right here to right here, and it felt like a bar. It felt like something took like
right through my head like that. And it was this pulsing, sharp pain. And usually that kind of thing will go away after a second, but it just kept happening. And I said to you, my head is hurting right here. And you were like, oh, my voice carries light codes, which I understand that. But to someone who is not familiar with light codes and frequency, they might go, what in the fuck is she talking about? But sure enough, you had me pull it out. You had me identify the color of it. You had me put it in my hand and notice the way it was spinning, and to spin it in another direction, and then to put it back, and it went away.
Yeah.
And I've never really felt anything quite like that in that way. So it wasn't like it was a usual headache that just came on. So that was odd to me, because that was one of those experiences within a healing session that I had to just own and say that was freaky and that was not usual. So what was happening there, and is what you had me do part of your light activation healing, or what?
Well, that's more closer to hypnotherapy.
Oh, because you are a hypnotherapist, and I wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah.
So how do you incorporate? Well, first, let's start with what the hell you had me do and why that worked.
I want you to use it, so I'm not going to tell you everything, because I want you to be able to use it. And it's just a part of being able to change anything in your energy field. If you don't like your life and you want to manifest a new life, you can change it. You just have to start moving the trauma out. Because I was speaking to someone earlier today, and she was telling me, I have taken all these classes in manifesting, and I haven't manifested anything. And I said, because you're trying to manifest over your old story. You have to move your old story out of the way and put a new story in place, and then build your manifest on top of that. So how do you do that? You change your consciousness. And there's several layers of consciousness. And when I do hypnotherapy, which I haven't been able to do in light activation, is get to the subconscious. And
which is the purpose of hypnotherapy.
Right. So I use hypnotherapy to get to the subconscious, to release the emotions and the memories, and reorganize and reprogram the consciousness.
So are these two separate things that you do, or is this something that's all in one? Or
well,
you have a package?
I have kind of blended my hypnotherapy, and I put my healing work in my hypnotherapy. But I am going to be coming out with a program here in a couple months that I'm going to be doing 3 months of work with people, and they are going to go through this program with me, and the end of it would be some people don't like the word hypnotherapy.
Right.
So life regression.
Neuro-linguistic programming.
Yeah. Or consciousness reprogramming.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the end of the program. Is they will have 2 light activation sessions with me. I will have several other things that are going to go on. 30-minute coaching sessions with me, and some meditation, because the meditation leads up to the hypnotherapy.
So how would someone get into this program that you're doing?
Well, I'm going to be having it on my website. I'll probably have Jessica let me, come on so far also. But I will also be, I have an Instagram page, and I also have a Facebook page at beginning.
So is there a limited number of people who are doing this, or this
Yes, it will be limited to 10 people.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. For every 3 months. And then.
So the best way to find you would be through your website?
I have a Facebook page, is Begin with Healing.
Mhm.
And I also have my Instagram is Begin With Healing, and my Facebook, my web page is Begin With Healing.
So for those of you who are watching right now, Rochelle's email address and her website is in the description box. So you can click on that if you want to check her out, book a session with her, ask her questions about this program that's coming up. That sounds very exciting. Is there anything else that you want all of us to know about what you do?
Just give it a try if you haven't, because it is something that I can't like really refer it to something.
Right.
I don't know if you've had Reiki. Have you?
I have had Reiki, yeah.
So what is the difference?
Well, Reiki is using different codes, and it's universal energy, and it's there's a lot of mental energy work. Some Reiki practitioners I've had do different things with their hands, these different placements that they're doing, and it's almost like a dance that you can learn. Light activation to me seems a little bit more higher dimensional, multi-dimensional.
Well, I work with a lot of sacred
DNA.
geometry, so
Yeah, you're pulling in frequencies that Reiki is. Now I could be wrong. I'm not a Reiki master, but they definitely felt different, and the whole idea of it is very different. So,
well, when I first started doing it, there's a different way of flowing a frequency through your body container. One is yours and one is source. So I can feel the difference between, and when I'm working with angels, they'd be like, no, you're doing it wrong. I would be putting my energy.
I'm glad they tell you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, they would stop my hands and stuff. They would shake them and things. And I would be like, what am I doing?
Interesting.
Well, but I don't do that anymore. It's just when I was learning, because I was actually sending my energy into healing people, and it wasn't that
instead of just being a channel.
Right. And they were like, no, you got to send this light through, and it felt different. And so it's they keep showing me things, and I'm never going to stop learning. So one healing you come and have with me, it could be totally different a feeling than the next one, because they're still giving me information, and with how fast we're evolving, they're giving me more and more. So it's at first, when all of the shifts started happening, I felt like I couldn't keep up. I felt like I'm not going to be able to keep all this information you're bombarding me with. And they were like, chill out. It's going to be fine. Chill out, and I just said, okay, fine. I'm putting it into your hands, because I was feeling responsible for having the answers and having the things. I mean, I do keep my body container clean. I'm not doing drugs anymore, guys. Don't think I'm the light activation healer doing drugs.
I'm sure there are some out there.
I'm sure there are, but they're not probably very good.
Right.
They're probably having some problems, because I would not be able to keep the frequency if I.
Right. And that's the whole purpose.
Yeah. And the things that I was looking for in that stuff, I get now with meditation. I mean, and it's funny, because some people that have had hypnotherapy with me, they're like, oh my gosh, it felt like I was drunk. But I didn't have the, like hangover and all of that stuff. So, but that's what being in a trance and meditation, you're in a trance. You can be in a trance in doing many things. I was running on the treadmill one day, and I actually went into another dimension, and I was running on the treadmill, and something was chasing me, and I was thinking, I went into a active meditation with my eyes open, and then I found out that it wasn't chasing me, it was with me. And the next thing I found was I turned into this angel, and I'm in a forest, and I have these huge wings, and I'm healing the forest. And it was just like,
You did all this on the treadmill?
yeah. And my phone rang, and I came out of it, and I was like, daggone it, that was so trippy. I was just like,
Just a side note for everybody, please, don't drink and drive, and don't astral project while you're running on a treadmill. Rochelle's gifted. This is not, do not try this at your local gym.
Yeah, well, I wasn't, it wasn't my plan to do that.
Right,
okay. Right. I was just like, what's going on here? I'm in a different place. I'm in the woods. Something's chasing me. Next thing I know, it was pretty weird, but that's kind of part of my life, is that, these different dimensions open up and close. And I'm like, did somebody just see that, or is that me? Right. But light, when we were talking about light codes, anybody that's ever come to my office, I actually bring in light with a light code chant, and it's always different for everyone.
Right.
I sing light codes to my plants, my animals.
Oh, that's adorable.
Yeah, I mean, I sing it to my trees out here. It is just light codes are healing vibrations. That's all they are. Mm-hmm. And people have light in so many different ways. They can be in your presence. They could with a hug, with gestures. I mean, that you can get light codes through phone calls. You can get them through all kinds of things.
Well, I definitely got it that day.
Just like you can get the opposite.
Right.
You can get negative energies through phone calls, emails. I mean, I actually have stones around my computer at work because there's a lot of negative stuff going on there. So I make sure I put all that stuff going on.
Yeah, it's protection.
Right. Well, I mean, I work with a lot of healers. Some healers don't believe in stones and crystals, but I do, because I've seen them in other dimensions. Mm-hmm. And if I see them in other dimensions, they're definitely being used for something. Mm-hmm. And my understanding is crystals have healing powers and stones have consciousness and knowledge. Right. So when people say, oh, you can only heal yourself, and that's true. I don't heal anybody. They heal themselves. Right. They give the permission, and with them coming, they give the permission to the angels to work with them. I'm just a tool. I'm just the container that the frequency's running through, and they're telling me what to do, basically. So that's what I do.
Well, this sounds amazing. So I've definitely seen benefits of it myself, and it's very interesting to me. These are these newer types of energy modalities that are starting to become more conscious in the collective. And I'm so glad that you were able to come on here with me and talk about this. I really appreciate it. For all of you out there who want to contact Rochelle, please go to her website, beginwithhealing.com. She, like she said, she's on Facebook, she's on Instagram. And of course, if you are watching right now, you can send her a direct email. And now we are going to do the drawing for the contest winners. So the whole idea of the contest for Soulfire was that somebody would whoever referred the most new active members to Soulfire would be the contest winner. And then we would do a drawing of all of those people that were referred. So I hope I say his name right, but Jamie Snedeker, is that? I don't, I feel like a substitute teacher saying these names wrong, but he is the winner for referring the largest number of new active members. And now we're going to draw from these new active members. And they're going to win a 30-minute reading, possibly with me, a free 30-minute reading, and that's worth $65. And they're going to get a starseed oracle deck, which would be right up your alley. And then, of course, the High John the Conqueror oil. So let's draw.
What is the High John
I think
Conqueror oil?
I'm pretty sure it's like an essential oil, or it's an oil for protection, I think.
Okay.
I could be talking out of my ass right now. That I'm not as sure.
Okay.
And I just want everyone to see there are names in here. All right. Okay. Heather Withers. So somebody needs to let Heather Withers know that she is a lucky girl. All right, Rochelle, thank you so much for being on here. And I really appreciate the work that you do. I think that your work is only going to continue to expand and reach more people, especially after the great cosmic event on December 21st, 2020. So everyone, I appreciate you watching. I will see you here next Monday on Soulfire for the Chronicles of Chiron, the Lion, the Witch, and the Healer. Everyone, have a good night.